Today I'm really excited to share a dish from my childhood with you all. Growing up, both my parents were really adamant about cooking homemade meals, and I feel grateful that baluklak was in my regular dinner rotation, especially on a fun weekend night. It's actually much easier to make than you think. For me, I'm a big proponent of marinating for hours before cooking, just so all those flavors have the chance to seep in and meld with the protein. For this beef marinade, it's 4 tablespoons of neutral oil, 2 teaspoons of oyster sauce, 2 teaspoons of soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of white sugar, and 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. Afterwards, you mix it super well to ensure that every piece of beef is coated. After you're done mixing, just stick it in the fridge while you take care of all the other components. When it comes to washing rice, something that's really come in handy over the last few years is soaking my rice for 30 minutes prior to washing. That's been so helpful in getting all that starch out, and it takes fewer cycles of washing for the water to run clear. Before, it used to take me 8 different rinses before the water would be clear, but now it's only 3 or 4. Before you prep your veggies, start cooking your rice. Mine usually takes about 30 to 40 minutes, so that's how I plan the order of my cooking steps and preparation. Once that's going in the rice cooker, I start working through all my veggie components for this dish. I slice a single white onion into quarter-ish pieces and do the same with the bell peppers and jalapeno. A tip I'd like to offer to make daily cooking easier is having 2 bowls at your station when you're prepping, one for trash and one for your finished components. It mitigates the time you take walking back and forth to the trash can. I understand that it's hard to find the will or motivation to cook after a long day of work because of how time-consuming homemade meals feel, but this is one way you can make your life easier. It also makes your station feel more organized, and that way, you're not overwhelmed by the usual mess of cooking. And these are the finished veggies. Once my veggies are prepped, I start cooling my rice by laying it flat on a tray so that it doesn't get squished or mushy when I cook the tomato rice. The increased surface area, especially on a cold tray, helps the rice cool faster. While that's cooling down, I heat a pan with 1 tablespoon of neutral oil and add 1 teaspoon of minced shallot and 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. I wait until they're aromatic, and then I add my 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. To get rid of that canned tomato paste taste, I cook it down for a couple minutes and then add fish sauce to deglaze. The fish sauce also adds umami to this component. I then use some elbow grease to mix up the rice really well. When pretty much every single grain of rice is coated, I set that aside and start cooking my beef. It's important that here, you're coating your grains of rice and not squishing them. After I take the beef out from the fridge, I add 1 teaspoon of cornstarch and mix it up well. To a wok, I add 1 tablespoon of a neutral oil and then begin cooking the beef in batches. Once all pieces have browned, I add in another tablespoon of neutral cooking oil and toss in my veggies. I continue adding fish sauce to deglaze, and once the veggies have softened, I add my beef back in. And that's pretty much done. Now, before I start plating wet components like tomato, what I like to do is slice them and then pat them dry on a paper towel so that their moisture doesn't water down the food. Okay, so dinner is now done, and what I typically like to do is set up all of my components. This won't be the first time you hear me use that word when it comes to cooking, but I like to set up all my components and make sure that everything hot and fresh, or hot and cold, is ready to be plated before I really do anything else. So what I'll do is, to add to the presentation, I'm going to take this container, and for things like rice, I really like to pack it nicely like this, so that I can turn it over on my plate and just have like a really nice presentation rather than slapping it on there. And so here we go. I'm packing it nice and tight in this little deli container, while being careful to not really like smush it. But this is what I have right here. There we go, it's focused. So this is what we have, and what I'll do next is I'm just gonna slap it on this plate. I'm gonna try to do this kind of in a neat way, but here we go. Voila. Okay, so now that the rice is on, what I'll do next is spoon some of the baluklak, or the shaking beef, into the plate just like that, making sure that I get a good amount of color, amount of beef, amount of veggies, etc., etc. And so you did see me add in jalapeno earlier. Now, if I know someone doesn't like spicy, even if it's cooked down, even if the oils are cooked down, I'm probably not gonna put that on their plate, but because I love spicy, I'll probably keep it for mine. I mean, that's primarily the reason I added it to begin with. And then, let me just reposition some of this to make it nicer. Okay, so, oh yeah, I can already taste some of the jalapeno oil. And then I will take my cucumber and my tomato. I'm gonna take that and just alternate them like this. And I'll show a close up in a little bit, but there we go, just like that. And everything is kind of tight together right now, but it is what it is. Okay, and then finally, I'll add some green onions that I had already chopped up earlier in the week. I'll add on my beef, on my rice, and that's pretty much it. That is dinner. So hopefully that kind of helps you imagine what my process is when plating dinner for me and my wife. But I always just like to make it really fun. I know I could just like slap everything onto a plate, but I mean, heck, it's a Thursday night. Why not try to make it special, you know? But I say that every single night. Sometimes we'll have a fancy meal and she's like, what's the occasion? And I'm like, it's Tuesday. But yeah, so I'm gonna try to show you all this as gently as possible. Let me see how much I can. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna do a better shot so that all the food doesn't fall over, but that's dinner. Dinner. This was the finished product, and this is what my wife thought of it.
So awkward.
What do you think? Just say what you think.
Just keep it rolling, but cut this. Wow.
Okay, that's enough. Do you like it or no? Just please.
Oh, yes, it's so
Okay.
good.
Okay, excellent. We're cutting it. Say bye.
Bye. Awkward.